There's no way he just said this. As Igor Shesterkin has been staying quite quiet about his contract extension, the Rangers organization has offered him a contract. He's rejected that contract. Multiple insiders are coming out with some shocking details about the contract. And now another coach is commenting on Igor Shesterkin. All of that and more in this episode of Rangers Digest. We're going to break it all down. But before we do, a quick reminder to hit that subscribe button. About 70% of you who watch our videos are not actually subscribed to the channel. So if you want to do yourself a favor, it's free. Smash that subscribe button so you get to stay up to date with everything New York Rangers. And it's been a fantastic start to the season for the New York Rangers. But of course, there is something looming over the team. And that, of course, is the eventual, or at least we hope it's eventual, at least half of the fan base hopes it's eventual, contract extension for Igor Shesterkin. And, we thought that maybe it could get done before the season, and obviously that didn't happen. And there is still a world, we're going to get to it in this video, there is still a world where he signs a contract extension in season, even though there were some conflicting reports last week and 2 weeks ago where it didn't seem like that would be the case at all, either before the season or after the season. So let's dive right into it. We have some interesting comments from different people, insiders. Obviously, Elliotte Friedman here on 32 Thoughts says that he believes Shesterkin's representatives feel Shesterkin is the best player on the Rangers and he should be paid as if he's the best player on the Rangers. Right now, the highest paid player on the Rangers, as we've discussed, is Artemi Panarin at $11.64 million a year. And the New York Rangers are not willing to go there. And that is straight from Elliotte Friedman himself. The New York Rangers are not willing to go that high for the goaltender. And obviously last week, offering him a contract of $11 million over the course of 8 years. And, there have been some other reports coming up that apparently Shesterkin's camp and Shesterkin himself do not want 8 years. They want a shorter contract, maybe around 5 years. So maybe he can cash out and get even more money at the end of the 5 years, even though he is aging at this point. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to get that money, in his mid 30s, but nonetheless, that's kind of where they're at, I guess. And obviously on this current contract, they want shorter term and they want more money. They want more money than Artemi Panarin. He wants to be the highest paid New York Ranger. Now, I've talked about it in previous videos. Is this the best goaltender in the National Hockey League? Yes, I do believe that Igor Shesterkin is the best goaltender in the National Hockey League, and I think a lot of people share that sentiment. There's a lot of people who think that the Rangers can move on from this goalie and find just an average goalie and they'll be fine because they're still a great team. That could be true, but I think this guy is the backbone of the team, and some teams build their teams from the back out, right? And from the goaltender out, and it works for them. And I think the Rangers could be one of those teams. And obviously, with the salary cap structure of the Rangers, things are going to change going into next year. So this is a guy I think you want to hang on to. He is a franchise goaltender, and I think right now, statistically, in big moments, he comes up big, right? Like, he is the best goaltender in the National Hockey League for my money right now. So to move on from what Friedman said, this was another interesting article, and we'll dive into it. It's been a busy few days on the goalie market, and it's easy to wonder where to go from here with regard to Igor Shesterkin. And obviously, we look at a couple comparables for Igor Shesterkin in this article. If you want to go check it out, it's a pretty good article. But I thought this little tidbit was very interesting. Does Shesterkin deserve more than 5 guys who've signed big deals since 2023? There's just no way to avoid any of the discussion, and you can go in circles. And I mean, I've seen it in the comment section, a lot of people going in circles, and I mean, it's the same conversation over and over again. But listen, for what it's worth, Shesterkin has the most goals saved above average of any goalie from the start of 2021-22. He also has a Vezina trophy, which, says something. He's the best goaltender in the National Hockey League. There's potential for him to do it again this year. Not a great start to the year for him, but I think he can get there. And through last season, his playoff save percentage since 2022's postseason is 13 points higher than anybody else who played at least 20 games. So he is, with a pretty substantial sample size, much better than the rest, right? He is much better than the rest. And obviously a lot of people were comparing him and Swayman and saying, why does Swayman get $8 million and Shesterkin wants $4 million more than this, right? Their statistics are almost the same. They're not quite the same. And it's not this, the statistics themselves, sorry, I'll correct myself, are almost the same, almost identical, but different situations. Shesterkin's older. He's playing in New York. Jeremy Swayman was an RFA, right? Like there's a bunch of different circumstances here. So obviously, I think another team would be lining up to sign Shesterkin. It's a different circumstance than Jeremy Swayman in that way. And this is from Johnny. If the New York Rangers and Igor Shesterkin can settle at $11.7 million AAV, I'd be perfectly happy with that. And I think I'm agreeing with Johnny. I think, as you guys can see throughout the last couple of videos, I think Igor Shesterkin needs to stay a New York Ranger, and the Rangers need to do whatever they can to keep this guy a Ranger, because when you look at like Lafreniere's contract, possible contract extension, of course, $8 million, I think that's fair for the player. If he is going to become what he is projected to become, that is great value for that player. You're almost saving money in that way, and the salary cap's going up $4 to $5 million each year after this year. So, or starting last season, I should say. So I think I'd be perfectly fine if he just wants to say that he's the highest paid player and you can give him 11.7 and that'll be it, and it's not 12.4 and all this stuff that he's been talking about and coming out from his camp in the last couple articles and reports. 11.7 seems fair to me for the best goaltender in the National Hockey League. If he's the best, you got to pay him like the best, and I think he's the best right now. So this was interesting too from Too Much Hockey Podcast. Now take this with a grain of salt. No other insiders have said this specifically, so take this with a grain of salt. Like I said, we are hearing that the New York Rangers are closing in on an 8-year contract extension with superstar goalie Igor Shesterkin. Of course, 8 years is what they originally offered him. The AAV is set to be around 12.5 from everything we are hearing from our sources. This will be a story to follow over the next couple days. Now, this is insane. Okay, when I saw this tweet, because I was like, if there is any truth to this at this point, this makes no sense, because he wants to be the highest paid Ranger. That puts him at 11.7, as we just discussed. Bringing it up to 12.5, which is actually higher than what he originally asked for, which I believe was 12.4, makes no sense if you're the New York Rangers. I don't know why you would offer him 11 and then you would cave and offer him $1.5 million more per year with the same term on the contract. That makes no sense on the side of the New York Rangers. You're kind of showing your cards a little bit there, I think. Like that would make no sense to me. But again, it is just a rumor. Take it with a grain of salt. No other insiders have reported that specific number at this time. And obviously, fans are having fun with the situation. Igor Shesterkin walking into the New York Rangers offices this morning looking for the first $100 million goalie contract. And we had some interesting comments, I feel, that kind of backs up how I feel about Igor Shesterkin. Again, 12.5 is a little ridiculous, but if we can go back to, the more reasonable contracts and what has been reported, Red Wings coach from the other night, Derek Lalonde, obviously they played the Red Wings the other night, on Igor Shesterkin. He's special. I can see why he turned down the $88 million. Good agent. This is a player who, again, like I've been saying, if he goes to free agency, right, can make what he's asking for. He can. Another team will give it to him. The Rangers obviously have some control right now, but if this does go to the end of the season, and again, like I mentioned at the start of the video, there is a world where if the Rangers give him exactly what he's asking for, he will sign the contract in season, right? There is that world. We have heard that report as well. So it's going to be interesting. Will the Rangers give him exactly what he wants and just sign it mid-season? Or are they going to take this to next offseason and kind of, I don't know if you should be playing with it like that, because once you get to next offseason, feelings can change. And obviously Shesterkin might look at another team and another team might look at Shesterkin and say, hey, we'll give you whatever you want. But I think one thing is for sure, if you can offer Shesterkin 11.7 and he's happy with that, I would do that for 8 years. You have to pay the best goaltender in the National Hockey League. And this is from Brooksy as well, and Phil. I think what the New York Rangers should do is offer Shesterkin $12 million. I would make that offer, and if he rejects it, you play out the season. This is about this year. You play it out this year like the Yankees played it out with Juan Soto. So, obviously, or Juan Soto, my apologies for mispronouncing that. But this is about this year. I think he's right in that way. Offer him somewhere in the area of 11.7 to 12 million. If he doesn't accept that, you ride out the year, see how it goes. And if you don't win the Stanley Cup or even get close again, then you make your decision from there. But let me know what you think in the comments. What would you offer Igor Shesterkin? Do you think he's worth it? I've seen a lot of comments saying he's not worth it. I think he's the best goaltender in the National Hockey League, and he should be making at least 11.7 on the Rangers. If that's what he wants, if that's what would get the contract done, sign him to 11.7. If you want somewhere like 12, try and figure it out. See if you can, if you're not going to mortgage the future or, most of your team next season, because again, the salary cap structure is going to change for the Rangers next year. But let me know what you think in the comments, and if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with everything New York Rangers.